man. So happy to have you back.
Yeah, what's up, man? It's a nice, bright, sunny day here in London for once. I'm looking out the window. It's nice and sunny, nice and toasty. Feels like I'm in the Caribbean. Feels fucking beautiful, mate. Feels fucking beautiful.
Yo, is it hot over there? What's
Nah.
the
To be
weather
honest,
like?
we have these bursts just before summer. Usually around this time, April to Mayish, where it's bright, it's sunny, but it's quite windy. So it's still the time, you still have to wear a little light jacket, maybe some tights or some thermals under your shorts or something. But it's still nice to look at outside the window. It's a nice visual
Nice.
thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, here too, man. It's hot as shit out
Oh
here though.
shit. Okay.
I'm in France. Yeah, man.
Which part of
Yo,
France are you in?
Brittany.
Brittany. Where is that? Where's Brittany?
Where's Brittany? Shit. How
Is
do I
that
explain,
north,
man? I'm
south,
horrible.
west, east?
It's in the north, but it's like shit. It's not well known. It's like we're not too far from England. Yeah, man. It's like it's somewhere in France. I can't fucking tell you. I can't even get the fuck out of here. You know what I'm saying? It's like the spot you have to be because you ain't got no money. So I mean, it's not
Yeah, it's like asking somebody what like high school they went to. It's important, but it's not really important. Who gives a fuck? you know. I went to this
exactly.
place. I
It's
went there. It was whatever. It is what it is. yeah,
yo, all right. It's like I used to live in
yeah,
Paris, right? But it was like I used to live in the hood,
mm,
so I got a family and shit, and we're like, we can't do this anymore. You know
yeah,
how it
yeah,
is.
yeah.
Like you got
In
to get the
gay
fuck out of
Paris.
there.
Mm.
Yeah, man. They think Paris is all like fashion and Emily in Paris, man. It's not all pink and shit sometimes, man.
Emily,
If you're poor, bro,
Emily in Paris actually did a lot for people for Paris, though. I think in a weird way. I think because it's such a fabricated view of Paris, people really wanted everyone to know. No, no, no. This is nothing like Paris. People went out of their way to kind of really tell people. I think it did. It weirdly did quite well for Paris tourism. I think people actually got an actual
maybe,
education
yeah.
about. No, no, no. This is not like this at all. It's absolutely hellscape. But yeah, I love it.
Bro, I can't stand that fucking series, man. Every time I see it, because I don't know, I feel like you're kind of lying to people, man. Like the metro smells like
But that's the
shit.
thing
You know
I'm
what I'm
saying, though.
saying?
I think
It's
it's important. The lie is important. The Parisian lie is similar to the London lie. The London lie is like the streets are
mm,
paved in with fucking honey and gold or something. And the Parisian lie is the same sort of thing. You're gonna go there. You're gonna suddenly be reading outside of cafes. You're gonna meet a cute girl, a cute boy. You're gonna be learning French in a couple of months. Like that's the lie that you get sold. Then you get there and you realize, oh, it's everything. It's the complete
exactly,
opposite. I think people need that though, because that lie gets you there. Then if you're meant to be there, you're gonna put up with the bullshit. And then if you're not, you're gonna leave. But I think the lie is good because it gets you to leave your little small town in America, in wherever in Europe you are, to go and chase this Parisian dream. And then when you get there, you realize the reality is very, very different.
exactly. Have you been to Paris
Yeah, yeah,
before?
yeah. Oddly enough, I was born there, man.
What?
yeah.
No
Oddly
way.
enough, but like
What the
but
fuck?
like in the in like a born like in like a yeah, I was born there. So my family comes from Angola, but my dad was working for a company out there. Like he was kind of like, I don't know if it was like CIA or some shit. Something was happening. So we were moving often a lot, right? we were moving. Who knows what's going on, man? My dad might be a spy. You never know. But we were moving around from place to place, and then we ended up in Paris for a period. And then there was a time where my dad wanted us to kind of get French citizenship and shit. So I was born there. I grew up there for like what? I was there for like maybe 3 years or something like that. I was speaking fluent French and shit, running around with a little cravat, having fun. Yeah. and then I guess we saw the real Paris because my dad is educated. He's got like a degree and shit. You know what I mean? But yo, the
Yeah.
racismo, woohoo! The racismo
Oof.
was on another level. So my dad with the racismo, he couldn't handle it. My mom couldn't find a job, and essentially the passport thing was really hard to get at the time. And then I think at the same time the passport was hard to get over there was when I think Labour came into party in the UK. And the Labour Party, the whole idea
Mm,
behind it was like we want to welcome all immigrants, doesn't matter where you are, come here, refuge over here. So all of people from like Angola and African folk too were going to the UK to get passports, and that was the kind of the hustle. So my dad was like, you know what, fuck this, let's jump to England. So then we moved to England, when I was like maybe 3 or 4. And then as soon as we got here, my kind of French just disappeared. But I used to speak fluent French, man.
That's
Yeah,
mad. That's
mad,
crazy.
yeah.
I'd never
My
expect
piece of
that.
law, but yeah.
That that's insane, man. Yeah, I told yeah, the racism, oh man, it's ramped up a bit, man. Sometimes if you go in the wrong spots. Like I remember going I used to be a fashion student
Yeah,
and
yeah.
shit. And I'm originally from Cape
Mm.
Verde, so I'm light skinned.
Yeah,
So
Cap
you
Verde.
walk
Cap
into the
Verde.
Cape
Yeah,
Verde,
yeah.
yeah, there you go, shout out. So you walk into Dior, bro, you get the weirdest fucking looks you ever had in your life, man. Like niggas like, what the fuck? What is he doing? You know what I'm talking about? Like you
Oh,
feel like
come on. Of
since you're a certain
course. Of
skin
course. Of
color,
course. Come on.
you're not supposed to be there. What are you doing
Which
here?
is why
You
it's always, which is
even
why it's always fascinated me the French football team. Like I've always, I no, I really want to know. I honestly want to know. I hope someone makes a documentary about it. I really want to know, like,
yeah.
how come the French football team, especially all the black and Arab dudes, are very patriotic, even though they come from a country
Mm,
that doesn't really kind of I won't say respect them, but there's the racism is real over there. So I'm curious to know
yeah.
why footballers, and usually footballers from France are kind of like footballers in the UK. They come from humble beginnings. They come from working class backgrounds. So not all of them are like rich and middle class and shit. So I wonder why they seem to be very proud to be like French and not represent their like home country, as opposed to France. It seems to be a strange thing. Like it's race. There's a lot of racism there, but also the immigrants don't mind representing France and singing the national anthem and shit.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's so true. You know what it is? It's kind of like America, man. It's like there's a certain
Yeah, good
patriotism
point.
that yeah, you stay here long
Mm.
enough. You're like, yo, the countryside is cool. Africa is cool. That's where we're from.
Uh.
That's cool. But France is where we're
Yeah, yeah,
at.
yeah,
You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah.
France
Mais
is like,
France, mais
it's getting my
France.
bills.
Uh,
It's getting my
yeah,
millions. I fuck with France. I got no problem with France. You know what I'm saying? They try to stay, Africa ain't paying shit. Not right now. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
So niggas are broke out there. In
Exactly,
France though, you know what I'm
exactly.
saying? So niggas don't want to shake that. They don't want to say too much. No, I'm good. I'm good, bro. It's yo, my dad can't stop talking about that, bro. And he was like, I can't believe these people. Like for real, like half of your team is African, but you would hear nothing about
Yeah,
Africa, and we
absolutely
win
zero,
the
absolutely
World
zero. And it's but what you say is true. It's like having
Zero.
that rich friend, isn't it? That kind of that is okay to pay for stuff. You might
Yeah.
hang out with him a lot more than your other friends. He's gonna get the rounds. He might put the
Special
food in. You
treatment.
might be able to get some fucking some starters. You might even get able to get a dessert. He'll look after you. You know what I mean? He might even
Oh
pay for the
shit.
Uber.
Oh
It's all
man,
good.
those are the kind of friends you hang around
Yeah,
with.
man, you might see him a lot more instead of me, where I'm asking you for the £5. You're like, no, 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 let's not hang out at Agostinho. He's always having his hand out.
Nah, but yo, recently, I don't know, man. All my rich friends have kind of been dodging me, man, because where I'm at in France, I'm not cool, bro. I'm not in Paris anymore,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
No, but
it is what it
no, but
is.
it makes sense, man. Moving, I read what you call it? I read a article actually recently about Samuel Ross, a Cold War designer, who's kind of making a move to
Mm.
like he wants to do
Oh
he
yeah,
wants to
yeah,
do
yeah.
art now, so which is pretty cool. Like you don't really see that often. So he starts off in like streetwear, now he's doing like fashion, and now he wants to kind of build from that and basically go be full time doing art for the long term and maybe some design. But I think the article says his studio is in some area called like Willingboro or Willingberry or something. I googled it. I was like, fuck, like he moves out in the country, like in the sticks. But it makes sense, doesn't it?
Mm.
Because in the UK, your money doesn't go. I'm sure same in France. Your money doesn't go that far in the city. If you have a family,
Mm.
really, if you have a family, like I don't have a family, and I'm probably nowhere near to having one. But I always kind of think to myself, like, if I did have one, like the last thing I'd want is for my kids to be playing on a balcony. I want them to go to a park. I want them to
Absolutely.
have a garden. Like that idea is horrible. It's like people that I know that have dogs and they have them in like blocks of flats. It is what it is, but I feel sad for the dog, man. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't get a chance to
Yeah.
fuck around in the garden it just has to go in a block of flats. You have to always go to the. It's just annoying. So I think a lot of people
Yeah.
do that when they have families move out to like the country, and it makes a lot of sense. And also, but the unfortunate side of it is that when you have a family, obviously changes you as a person. But you also know when you move,
Mm.
it kind of ends stuff. It's kind of like the end of one chapter and the beginning of another. But for sure your social circle, they're gonna stop. You know what I mean? Like It's kind of over.
Oh, I'm going through it
Yeah,
right
like
now.
it's kind of over
Yeah,
basically. It's a wrap. You know it.
I'm going through it right now. Yeah, bro. I can't tell you how many people I don't talk to because I got two kids, bro. Like, fuck this dude. I'm like, what?
Exactly.
I can't tell yo nobody, bro. Like, it's weird, man. Exactly what you're
Fuck this
saying. Wait
dude with
until you
the
got
two
kids.
kids.
Fuck, no,
Jesus
for real.
Christ. People are awful, innit? People are awful.
Or they were so
Yeah,
weird. I'm
yeah.
like, what's the problem? You know what I'm saying? I was like, I got two kids. What do you want me to do? So I can't talk with this dude, man. Can't relate. So I go out here in the sticks because exactly like if I could, I wouldn't live in Paris,
Yeah, yeah,
bro. I wouldn't put kids in
yeah, yeah.
Paris. You couldn't like you gotta let them like fucking run around and shit. So it is what it is,
No,
man.
it's cool. It's
Yo,
cool. Yeah, go
listen.
say.
Uh, I want to first of all congratulate you on 100 episodes, which is fucking
Oh yeah, yeah,
major.
yeah, yeah. Big up the
Okay.
random show.
Yeah, exactly. Big up. And I want to send you a special present as well. I got these Palace times Uggs boots that'll fit you perfectly. I believe you're.
Ah, you're a funny guy, man. You're a funny guy, man. Hardy ha
I'm a
ha.
fan, bro.
Hardy
I'm a
ha
fan,
ha.
bro.
No, 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 no. You
I'm
know
a
what?
fan. Okay.
I'm gonna pass them on to a friend, innit? Mr. Dustbin, right? My friend Mr. Dustbin. Yeah, I think he's gonna love those.
I got the black ones.
Oh,
Just like hey, yo, we gotta talk about
yo.
that. What
Yeah.
what is that, man? What is going on in
No,
fashion,
so
bro? For
so
real though.
I was told by some people in the know, like regarding I think it was actually a Cold War Dr. Martens regarding that collaboration. I was
Mm,
told by some people in the know that Samuel got paid a decent amount for that, and I think I've spoken to him in the past, and he's a very he's a kind of guy that doesn't do stuff like on a whim. He's very methodical.
mm,
He's very kind of serious. There was a time early on when I kind of met him where you kind of think he's a bit up his own ass and stuff, and spoke in weird, had like he used unnecessary big words for the sake of it. But now that he's grown into himself, become more mature, you see, no, this guy always had a vision and plan going forward. And if the plan and the vision is what he's saying in the article about being an artist, you need some capital for that shit, right? You need some income to like, but get a studio, make sure you pay that out for maybe a couple of years,
mm, mm.
materials. Maybe I don't know how art works, but I think sometimes you might just need to kind of like go out there and just hire a space yourself to kind of show your work if you can't get representation, just to kind of put yourself out there. It's a lot of kind of money to kind of invest first before you start seeing rewards. If that's the case, collaborations are the best thing to do because from what I've heard, there's two ways of getting paid. One, you get paid a flat fee, and two, you get residuals. And obviously, if you're smart, especially in this economy that we're in at the moment, you would take the fucking flat fee. And I've heard of flat fees anywhere between like 30 grand to like 250,000. So these collaborations are starting to make a lot more sense for these brands because if you think about it, who's buying? Like, who really needs to, like, as much as I love Supreme, who really needs another Supreme t-shirt? Like, every season. But if they drop a collaboration, usually those things are very limited and they're only going to happen once. Whatever it may be, like an undercover collaboration or whatever particular style of Dr. Martin. So these brands are taking these deals, collaborations, putting out limited edition products to serve to serve their customers. But the primary reason is the bottom line because you get that income straight away. And if your brand isn't making that much money in sales, another good one is Aries or Rise, however you pronounce that name. They're another good example. They probably don't sell enough product day to day to keep the lights on. But if they do collaborations with New Balance, with this phone case company, with this bag company, that money helps to keep the lights on and it gives them some runway. So I kind of get it that way. But I think if you're a fan of Palace, you must be wanting to shoot yourself in the face because the collaborations are like so random. They're all and the quality
Horrendous.
control is so shit. Like even that Evisu collaboration, there's like two good pieces in it, maybe three at tops. The rest of it, burn it in the fire. Like the Gucci stuff, like outside of influencers, people that get stuff for free. I've not seen one person in real life wear that shit. One person. The nicest thing in that Gucci collaboration was some like yellow motorcycle jacket. It was hard, but I think it was like 10 grand or some shit. Who bought that? Like three kids from China and one kid from Dubai. All right, cool. Congratulations. Like it kills the brand. And there was a time in Earth where these pilots, especially maybe because of me, again, I'm ranting about this because it's fucking personal. There's a time in life, right?
No, please go
There's a
ahead.
fucking time in life in London. These palace guys were coming up and they were like the next big thing, right, in terms of skateboarding brands. And I was in and around that scene because I used to skate as well back in the day, blah, 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 blah. And the way they used to walk around the town, the way they used to act and interact, like they used to kind of adopt this. I'm sure you have it in France, where these white kids from like the suburbs start to adopt the mannerisms and shit of guys from the hood. And I was thinking about it. Like I'm from the hood, but I don't even want to be here. And then you guys are trying to adopt what we did and wear it as like a badge of honor, and you're trying to stunt on me when I'm actually from here. No, go fuck yourself. And
Oh
then
wow,
and then the
sweet. Oh,
worst
you get
thing,
beat up.
then the worst thing about it is that me, like, because that's the thing. Me, I'm like, I do it to myself because I'm a fan of things. Like I like being because I think there's a part of me that's that's obviously a savage hater. So I like to be obviously a fan of things also. Like I fan out. Like I'll buy your merch. I'll come to your shows. Like I'm a fan. I'll make it known. But sometimes in a scene, being a fan of things, people look at you like you're a bit of a like you're a dweeb. Like you're I don't know. They kind of look at. I don't know why they do that. They make stuff. They want people to buy it and look at it, but then when you fan out, they start to they kind of get put off. It's weird. Anyway, so in the beginning, when they made Palace, like legit, the beginning of it, I must have bought the first five T-shirts they ever made. The first five.
Oh shit.
I was in there at the beginning. If people remember, the first ones they used to do, they used to make them inside out. So they'll buy like um already they'll buy like they'll buy blanks and kind of upcycle them. So turn them inside out and then print the flipping triangle thing on the back and the front. And back then, have that triangle was like, you felt like you had a fucking like 10-inch cock. You know what I mean? You felt hard. Yeah. So we had this shirt, and I bought the first ones, and I was legit the first one to buy them because you had to buy them only. They only sold them to skate shops. They didn't want to have them to other accounts. They were hard to get. The drops were mysterious. Like everything that kind of like Cortez and these brands are doing, pilots were doing that back then. So props to them. Then I bumped into one of the owners or one of the founders when I used to work at Nike, and I was like, I don't know, I asked like a really innocent question, like I don't know, oh, when are you gonna start making hats? Like these hats, oh, this is sick. I really like t-shirt. I would love to get a hat. And the way you try to like big time me, like act like I don't know. I was like, what? I remember the time I couldn't.
Oh, I hate that
Honestly,
shit.
I couldn't get it in my head. I was like, hold on, what did I say? Like clearly, I'm a fan because I got the
Nothing.
shirt on.
Asshole. Yeah.
I'm like one of the only black guys in the scene that skates as well. That isn't from the suburbs. Like you like whatever, right? So that attitude and legitimately from that day, I never wore a Palace item ever again. I gave all my shit away and stuff. I think my little brothers are walking it and having a good time and stuff. But it blew my mind because I was thinking to myself, like, I've met James Jebbia in this Nike store. I met the founder of Supreme. And he was
Whoa.
fucking lovely. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Yeah, you've just started your brand and you got a bit of hype around you, fair enough. But then you got this attitude that's weird. And to make it even worse, even if you're a fan of Palace, you remember at the beginning, they were really anti, hype beast, anti collaborations,
Yeah.
anti this, anti that, like making it a stance. And then as soon as the money came in, which is makes sense, it completely changed. And then suddenly you're seeing them doing photo shoots in Vogue, like doing all this sort of nonsense, completely abandoning whatever kind of, core skateboarding image they had. And all that kind of attitude and flipping pomp and bravado they had before was for what? For nothing. It turned me off as a fan. It flipping destroys the quality of the product in long term, and now it's just turned into essentially I don't know. It's like it feels like a Maharishi is going to turn into probably later on down the line. It'll just survive because it's just a name legacy. It's been around long enough, but you're not going to be checking for it anymore, which is kind of sad because there was a
Yeah.
time when Palace could have been literally like the European Supreme, but they kind of blew their load too quickly, chased the bag too quickly, and now, they're doing collaboration with the Visu in 2023. Come on, man. Get fucked.
Don't shit on the V's. They used to be hard as
Yes, they
hell at
used to
one
be.
point.
I wore them too. I
They
bought my
used to be.
first pair of fake Adidas from Dawson Market, right? Like,
Fake
and then I had
V's.
to buy, and the first pair I got with a paycheck for Selfridges, like I nearly cried when I realized how much they actually were. Like, we've all worn Evisus. We
Yeah,
love the brand.
expensive.
Like, cool, okay, no problem. But Evisus, and then you following up with the Uggs? Okay, go fuck yourself.
Nah, but I hate those kind of people, man, because they forget the whole reason they're there is because of you. So as soon as you start forgetting that shit, things start to get a little wobbly. You know what I'm saying? Like at one point or another, they started kind of falling off, man. That's why maybe Supreme is around so long. Maybe it's not as popular, but it's still pretty solid, right? because maybe because their founder is a cool fucking guy. You know what I'm saying? And Palace is out here doing this bullshit, man. But the worst fucking brand out of that, let me tell you, man, Bape just broke my heart,
Oh yeah,
bro.
yeah, yeah. Of course, of
What
course, of
is
course, of course.
Bape is so violent. I
Have you
mean,
seen those? Have you seen those shark
jeez.
hoodie Adidas's they're about to bring out
Oh
with a hoodie
Jesus
attached
Christ,
with a hoodie
man.
attached to it?
No, I haven't seen it yet. I'm scared. I don't know if I
It's
want
like
to,
an
man.
Adidas
Holy
campus.
shit.
It's got like the shark hoodie like inside. Like I'm like yeah.
No, my
I don't
God.
I don't know. I'm just thankful Nigo stepped away a long time. He stepped away even before social media was really you know jumping on Babe's dick like that. He wasn't really around. So he
Yeah.
kind of stepped away before anybody even have association with it. So I think some people probably didn't even know Nigo fucking found the company, which is the best thing, to be honest.
Wow, that's
I'm
wild.
sure there is. There's some
That's
kids who
fucking
wear
wild.
Babe who don't know Nigo's founded it. Um, or,
That's wild.
or they don't know he's not involved. They just think because they see pictures of him wearing it all the time that he's still there. But the stuff they do now is that's probably where you know
It's
what? That's probably
horrendous.
where Palace is gonna be ending up. That's a level
I didn't,
Palace are gonna end up for sure.
that's a bad place to be, bro. I remember I went to, I don't know if you heard, they opened up a first store in Paris. So I ran over to that motherfucker. I'm telling you, like back in the day, Nigo was like God to us in
Mm,
fashion, right? Like he was that
of
dude,
course,
man. Like you would go to the store and back in the States, you had to go to New
of
York.
course,
And even then, you know what I'm
of
saying?
course,
I go to the store in
of course.
Paris. I'm like, yo, I can't fucking wait to see this. Might even cop something. I don't know. Let's see what's up, bro. Why is nobody wearing vape in the store, bro? Like they're straight up dressed like civilians. They don't give a fuck.
Uh,
It was the worst experience, man. I was like, wow, what happened, man? What the
now,
fuck happened?
to be fair with the bait thing, like I think because I'm a fan of Nigos too. Like he's definitely one of my kind of like inspirations. Like him, James Jebbia, the Hiroshi
Definitely.
Fujiwara. Like those guys are the ones that basically they informed a large part of my youth. They really gave me, you know, the fucking taste that I have at the moment. The interest kind of led from that. That kind of looking at magazines and seeing what furniture they bought, what kind of art they were into, the music they listened to. It all kind of spawned my interest. So I'm never gonna diss those guys, but I think oddly enough, I'm not too sad about the Nigo end because I feel like he pushed the boundaries of what I like. He's for me what a fanatic of fashion or streetwear is like if they had a brand. He showed you the pitfalls of it. The once you can obviously make a successful brand that's super cool and super sick, but also you can get so crazy that you're opening up cafes and shit. You have like these amazing fucking interior designed locations in all the corners of
Uh,
the earth. There was the one in the UK. It had these. We had the. I don't know if you saw the busy workshop we had here in the UK. The t-shirts were like framed in these glass kind of boxes. These you had to
beautiful.
open with like a
Yeah.
door, like fucking insane. The level of detail.
I
This
remember
guy
that. I remember that.
legitimately took whatever money he made from that brand and he poured it back into the brand, like legit, like honestly legit. He probably must have just made money, maybe reselling shit or whatever consultation. He probably didn't make that much money. I would believe if he said, "Look, I didn't even make that much money with that Babe." He was legitimate. Like I've got books here, like Babe catalogs that are printed in a certain way, like all color, 200 images, binded in like that's not costing money, bro. And he was doing that on the casual basis. So I think that legacy and that kind of blueprint that he left is amazing. People like myself, other people as well, that kind of got brands and just for inspiration. But it also shows you the pitfalls of like when you're really about that life and you're ahead and you get really wrapped up in it,
Yeah.
where you could get to a point where you do that too much, and then essentially your brand gets taken away from you. In that sense, that's kind of the tragic. But I think in terms just of purely artistic, creative output and being unfiltered and untethered and having no restrictions and just really going for it. Like I even think of the zip. Like I think even the idea of like Ziploc bags for t-shirts and garments. That's probably the first time I saw one was from Bape. When I would buy stuff from Babe,
Oh
the
yeah.
fact that the carrying bag was a certain weight, they'll tape it with some tape on it. Everything about the fucking experience, the cues, like was fucking amazing. Even the store employees were always flipping dressed to the nines back then. Like it was incredible. So I think that period basically laid the blueprint. And even though it kind of ended terribly, and now the garments are legitimately horrible, Puma collaborations, New Balance, Adidas, throw that all in a bin. But at least
Mm.
at least the blueprint he left behind was amazing. Like it's pretty cool to see that happened. But it's also interesting to see. I think every designer was under Nigo left.
Oh
Yeah,
shit, I
I
didn't know
remember
that.
reading about that. Yeah, like every designer, because I think he stayed like as a ghost designer for a couple of years. I think if you go back, you'll see it started to fall off around 2013, 2014, 2015. You start seeing that like, the lookbooks, like the lookbooks are a good example because suddenly they went from like having these cool like casted, Japanese, South Korean models, and then suddenly they're just
Mm.
like just your regular hot guy model. Like this is what they got now. Like they're like your
Yeah,
regular Gen
yeah.
Z hot guy. That's what you
What
get.
the
You're like,
fuck?
who's this H&M model? Like these clothes. You're
What
like,
happened? Yo, as a fan, you're so confused. You're like, what the fuck is going on? What happened, bro?
yeah,
Man, like, but you remember how like I think he blew his entire paycheck, not just on the brand, but himself as well. Remember his house? You remember that shit?
yeah.
He had like,
Oh yeah, of course,
can
yeah,
you
yeah,
hear
yeah,
me?
yeah, of course, yeah, yeah, of
Yeah,
course, of course, of course, of course, of course. Of course. But again, like the house, you look back, like everything he done was iconic. The house, look back at the interviews. You could read those things, you could fucking watch those things, until the cows come home. Like that all stuff is that blueprint that he left behind is stuff that I don't think will ever be replicated in any way, shape, or form. And I think even though it kind of cost him his company, probably led to him maybe going close to bankruptcy. Just the taste levels, the attention to detail, just everything about it was worth it. I think in that regard, I think it was worth it to see on that level what this life is about. Like I remember when I was growing up watching that stuff, like I'd be obsessed with finding images of fucking nowhere. The original store that they had, him and flipping John Takahashi from Undercover. Like I was obsessed with
mm,
finding it, and then you like I'd buy these magazines. I've got a few like Asayan and shit. You don't understand anything in it, and there'll be like these
insane.
tiny, tiny pictures of what the store looked like on the outside, on the inside, the brands they had inside, and you legitimately be obsessed. Like you see line sheets of original T-shirt graphics, like skating designs, like all that stuff is like for me like god tier level. So even though it ended terribly, I'm happy that he kind of, left before it went to shit, and he wasn't in charge of the shit also, which is really good idea, because I think the story is IT absorbed it. They wanted to stay long term, but as usual, when it's like if you get IPO'd from a company, usually it means the
Mm.
founders are going to leave after a while, because if you're an actual founder of a company, the last thing you want is to then be an employee, essentially, a glorified employee. So eventually people end up leaving. It's a
Um,
standard thing that happens in companies all the time. The company absorbs you, and then the founders end up leaving over time. So he stayed, I think, maybe a year or maybe a couple of years when IT absorbed it and kind of absorbed their debt and took it over. But he also left his own regard. I'm sure he was forced out. I'm sure there was, him coming to meetings and having to explain why he's putting the label on his sleeve, probably pissed him off. But
yeah,
the fact that he left on his own guard and then set up Human Made, and then that was drastically better than anything Bape would put out since that time, was
yeah,
amazing. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. That's true, man. He did have a great comeback. I like that brand. The favorite one I had was when he made a collab with KFC, man, because I fucking love KFC, but never got my hands on it. But I love that
Yeah, no,
shit,
no,
man.
Human Made's good.
Uh, yo, switching over, I want to just congratulate you on your last commentary video with Lana, man. Is that her name, right? Lana,
Luana,
right?
no, you got it wrong. Luana,
Luana.
Lana, Luana, man. Get her name right, man. Get Bay's name right.
That nigga's gonna come over
Yeah,
me. He's gonna come
get
find me,
Bay's
dog.
name, get Bay's name right, man.
Oh, bro, what? That was top five AZ videos, man. It was. I don't know how long it was. Was it like
Yeah,
three
three and a
hours?
half. Too long, bro.
Man,
Too long.
three and. I was
Too long, man.
exhausted by
Too
the end
long,
of it,
man. Too long.
but I had laughed so
Too long.
hard. I still go back to that motherfucker, man. I still go like, yo, let me look at that AZ video again. That shit was so funny. I couldn't believe the shit coming out of her mouth, man.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? Like that was crazy. Remember when she's I think that the craziest part, bro, was oh man, I can't believe I'm bringing this up on my podcast. But she was talking about what she was doing with what's fuck his name, BG whatever, dog. When she started
The
she
sex
started
acts, they're consensual sex acts. Like I'm still confused what that interview was about. Like I'm literally confused. Like I don't understand
yeah.
how. because I think if we follow the genesis of the story, like everything of it, nothing makes sense. So I think it's just like LA. Like we have to make sense of LA brain, and there's no making sense of LA brain unless you're there. I think that stuff doesn't matter. Like at the moment, this is a fucking tangent to go on, but there's this rapper and this kind of YouTube guy personality called China Mac. I'm not sure if you know him. He was in a gang.
No, I
Anyway,
don't.
he's a rapper. He was in a gang ages ago when he was younger. Went to prison for a long time. Came out and then had a beef with Jin, this other Chinese rapper who was big at one time. They had a big thing before, and then he kind of they made up and stuff. But he's now turned into one of these like hood guys that does YouTube commentary, and he talks about like hood stuff.
Oh
Yeah.
shit.
Oh, did 6ix9ine snitch? Did all this sort of stuff, right? That kind of guy. Yeah, yeah, that stuff. Don't ask why. Watch this one. Yeah.
DJ
Yeah,
academics.
exactly. These kind of topics, like,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Would you pay for a girl the BBL? Whatever. Okay, cool. Whatever. So all that highbrow shit, right? So this guy
Oof.
recently moved to LA. He's from New York. He's like born and raised in New York. I think his dad used to be in the fucking triads or something. Like he is born and bred there.
Oh shit.
So he moves to
Okay.
LA to pursue his content career and just do more live streams because I guess the people he wants to talk to, people close to No Jumper and other people and stuff, they all live in LA, so it's just a good space for him to go. And over the period of like, it feels like maybe 4 months since it's been out there. Like even the commenters, because obviously I love reading comments. And I think those will really give you a good idea of what the kind of temperature is. You go through it. A lot of guys
Yeah.
are like, girls are like, hey man, like I like China Mac. I actually enjoy his content, but he's changed since he moved to LA. Like LA's fucked him up, and why it's fucked him up because now he's doing this thing. He did it recently where he's doing these like pranks, like you know those pranks, like,
Oh
oh,
no.
my friend pulls out a gun live on stream. We get into a fight over who owes someone money.
Oh
But
my.
they're all like pranks, they're not real. And recently he did one
Yeah.
where he kind of took a picture of his neck and it was all bruised up. And he's like, oh, I'm gonna get you fuckers, man, you jumped me or something. And everyone was like, China
I
Mac got to
hate that
jump, he
shit.
got to jump. And he let people like run with his knives. And then he comes on stream and he basically confesses, oh no, I didn't get jumped, I was in a threesome or something. I don't know, something like that. And people look at him like,
What?
they're looking at him like, nigga, what? Like, huh? Like, giving a side that, like, what is wrong with you? So, all that to say, if LA could do that to a certified goon, hood guy, hard as nails,
Yeah.
been to jail, just imagine what he can do to,
Jesus
like,
Christ.
somebody chasing celebrity and fame, like a regular schmegger civilian. I think LA does something to you because that interview, that whole series of
That was
interviews
weird.
started from BGL, Mark Harley getting fired by Brendan Schaub. He got fired, right? And in his head, he got fired unjustly. And in
Yeah.
his head, he was owed money. According to him, he's owed money and he got fired unjustly. Okay, shit happens.
Which you will never
No, but
see.
whatever. Shit,
You
shit
will never
happens,
see.
and I think sometimes speaking your mind. Like I've had a situation before where I had an issue with a company that I worked for, and the guy didn't pay me my money, and I went on YouTube and I was saying some shit. I was saying some fucking shit. I nearly got my YouTube channel taken away from me, so I'm not going to like, I'm not going to judge. I'm not going to judge, right? I did some shit. I did some dark shit. Like I'm not gonna, I was thinking of turning up to his, he was doing this press thing. He's gonna do this like talk. I was gonna turn up there with a baseball bat. Like I was on him anyway. Like let's not go there. And I was probably owed like £500. It wasn't that much. I swear. So if BGL was owed like thousands, and he went to go on YouTube. Look,
Oh
my G,
shit.
I get it. But let's be real. Let's be real. You get owed money. No, you get fired from work. You're owed money. Why do we now have to find out about what you guys get up to in the bedroom? Why are we now
Yeah, that was
finding
weird,
out
man.
who cheats on
Yeah.
who, when they cheat,
Yeah.
why they cheat, who hit who? Like, why is that important? Like the hit and stuff. Like, what's going on here? Like, what are we doing here? As
Oh
Brendan
man.
would say, what are we doing here? Like, what's going on?
Listen, it was a roller coaster because I got two daughters, man. So I was like, oh damn, I remember we laughed about this chick, and I feel kind of bad. She's talking about getting hit and shit. I was like, oh fuck, this is terrible. But then things went sideways so fast, and you're like, what is going on? What did she just say?
And then the
Holy
interviewer
shit!
getting
What?
a boner midway in the like, I'm like, what are we
That
watching? Are
was
we
the
like,
best.
should I turn this off? Should I give them some private time? Like, what the fuck is going on here?
What are you talking about? That guy was going nowhere,
No, but
bro.
still, yeah,
Zero. That
of
guy.
course, he's going nowhere. But he's doing like what he knows best, isn't it? Yeah. So What
Oh,
size are your tits? Like, bruh, composure, man. Drink some water. Relax. What time is it where you're at anyway? Like it's like 9
oh
a.m. in the morning and
shit.
you're horny. Like chill,
That's too early.
chill, like
Too
chill. Your wife is in the next room, bro. You're gonna sleep on the
That
you're
was the
gonna sleep
worst
on the
part.
sofa, man, for a stream.
Oh,
Really?
forever. I was
Like
laughing
you're gonna
so
sleep on the
hard when you
sofa for a
said that.
stream. Like, is that what you're gonna do? You're gonna you're gonna put your marriage
Yo,
and seeing your kids in jeopardy for a fucking live stream. Come on, man.
he looked stupid. When you were talking about, this guy's married, I was like, what?
Yo,
He did not just
like
say
you know
that.
what he was like honest. Like I'm sure there are girls out there like guys would risk stuff for. Like, but come on, like I'm sure that like everyone's got a woman or a guy and it's okay. I'll risk it all for this, but really, Luana,
Nah,
really, this woman that's airing all her fucking quote unquote husband's business out here with no encouragement, no money, no like even in the streets like, oh yeah, I got other bigger shows, bitch, bigger shows. Who? Where are they? Bigger shows. What? Like,
nah. But listen, you know what really sent a chill down my spine when she started talking about, oh fuck, what's the name of that thing? That rod or whatever. Ah shit. When you said look it up on Google,
yeah.
bro. I almost
Yeah,
passed out. You know what I'm talking about?
of course, yeah.
What?
I'm the sounding rods. Yeah. I'm,
Yeah,
I only know
I'm,
this stuff, yeah,
I.
because of techno. That's the only reason why I know this stuff. Techno in Berlin. If not, my
Oh
brain would be
Jesus
pure. My
Christ.
brain would be pure and uncorrupted. But because I go to Berghain and shit, and I go to these fucking clubs, I have to be like
Oh
aware of these
Jesus.
things, and I'm just so I'm aware. Like I always want to just be like aware of things. So I'm not like doing the face of like, oh my god, right? Yeah. So I just want to be aware. So I see this sort of stuff, and I'm like, oh shit, like. Hold on, I remember the name Sound. I remember seeing that in a shop that I went into, innit? Like Sound. I swear I remember that thing because there's another one they do too, where if I'm not mistaken, there's another one that they do where there's more of the metal exposed, and they literally use it like it's meant to be like a what's up? I don't know what it's called. There's a term for it where you get aroused by audio or by sound. Sorry, they kind of use
ARS, ASM,
yeah,
something like
something like
that.
that. So they
Yeah.
do those kind of like dings and these sort of shit, and that's yo, like I'm like, first of all, it's not my vibe, but second of all, why do we need to know this?
Yeah. Oh man, that was too
He
far,
beat
bro.
you up.
First
He
of all,
beat
the
you
whole.
up. He wants money. You're trying to
Ah,
prove that you're a domestic violence abuser, and now you're telling us all your kinks. Like that interview was so
something was
confusing.
off,
Yeah,
man.
and
Something was
the
way
drugs,
off.
the LA brain. It's just all over the spectrum, and and me as well. I don't know. The chat was going a bit crazy for her, but I was like, she kind of mid. She kind of mid. I don't know. She's kind of mid, man. She kind of mid.
Yeah.
She kind of looks old in the
I
face. Look,
mean,
again, no, I'm sure she's a lovely girl. Guys will be into her. I'm probably a gargoyle compared to her. It is what it is. But if we could have opinions, I didn't understand. Everyone was like this just must be like this. Just probably is one of those things where it happens sometimes a lot. We see in the hood or in just rough areas. We
mm,
see people shouting at each other in houses and some couples, and usually it's just like
yeah.
it's just a very lustful relationship. They have that kind of relationship where it's just like it's driven by lust and shit and own and possession and
Mm.
the like dominion over the other person, that kind of thing, like all that sort of vibe. So that's probably why they like this. Like it started really hot, so it's no surprise it ended hot because they said they met each other 2 months and they got married. So that's probably what happens if you do that kind of world relationship. Either you meet somebody and it's like marriage and you get hooked up quickly and it's like your parents, or you just end up staying together for fucking ages, like people's parents and shit. Or the other end of it is you end up having a really fast Vegas wedding and it ends up ending very fast in a flipping fireworks type of way. Also, there's probably no middle
Because
ground.
you know what it was? It wasn't love, man. It was
Of
sensuality. It
course,
was like I don't. They didn't like love each other. You know what I'm saying? They were into some crazy fucking shit. And how man when I saw that video of that dude throwing a key at her head, bro, I was like, whoa.
yeah.
Like what goes through a man's head? Like you know what I'm saying? You think about that? Picking up your fucking fat ass keys and throwing it at somebody's head. That's like I'm like wow, bro. And like, she's like tiny and shit. I was like, this is insane. I'm listening to this. So I'm like, I can't believe it, bro. Like if somebody did that to my daughter, you know, I'd kill him, right? I go to
That's
prison
what
voluntary for
that's
that
what I'm
shit.
saying. Like, like on it, like it all just doesn't make sense. Like all of it doesn't make sense. And then this guy's like
Nothing
living
makes
at home
sense.
with his parents, and he's 40 something. Like that big ass guy in his mom's house, like taking up
Oh,
all
it's
the
so
space,
awkward.
eating all the things in the fridge. Like, give your mom a break, bro. Like, what is wrong with you? Like, grow.
That's the worst kind of
Like,
leech, man.
imagine, like, legitimately, she's watching to wash all his gym gear. Like, he's getting annoyed that she didn't wash his fucking Under Armour thing. Like, bruh, like, what are you doing? Like,
Nah, listen, Mufasa wouldn't do that, man. I don't
yeah,
understand.
no,
You know what
he's
I'm
a fucking
saying?
weirdo, man. All those people are like, honestly, like, the good thing about about that scene and doing those streams is the flipping ability to kind of tap into that side of life because it legitimately is so different than anything I've ever seen, and it also is something that I would never want to be involved in the slightest. But it's fascinating to watch. That's why I understand now because I never used to get why people watch reality TV. It's never really been my thing ever, really. Maybe apart from the first episodes of like Big Brother back in the day when it was real, like when they used to get real people and it wasn't scripted. That was, but then it ended quite quickly because real people end up being really evil to each other. Like so, the first ones were really bad because there was loads of bullying, loads of assaults and shit. It was kind of fucked up. So they had to kind of make it more of like a TV game show. But I've never been a fan of Love Island, all that stuff. I never get it. But I sometimes think now I get it because it allows your brain to turn off because as bad as your life is, you are not those people. So you can sit back and
Oh
like
shit,
point
yeah.
and judge and just watch them from afar and be like, I'm better than you. Like I don't care what you have, but like as a human, like I'm better than you.
Thank God.
Exactly.
Thank
So
God.
exactly. So that's why I like that
Holy
shit. That's why I
shit.
like it.
Man, you know, and life is just sometimes so fucking boring. You're just, you know, you just listen to some dumb shit sometimes. It's cool.
Basically,
It's
basically.
awesome. It, especially if you got some AZ commentary on top of it. It's just
Hey.
exceptional. Exceptional. Yo, I'm dying to talk to you about this, bro. That video I DM'd you, remember about that guy, that YSL member in the prison cell?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, 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 yeah.
whoa, man. I thought you were gonna come out with some commentary
No,
on
no,
that
no, no,
video
no.
because
It looks it when you first watch it. Maybe it's my sick brain, but it looks like a porno video. Like it looks like some sort of like you're watching some sort of like oh neighbor saw me sunbathing in the garden without my top off, like that kind of shit. It kind of feels a little bit like that. Oh, Fog's in jail.
holy
Like it
shit.
kind of has that kind of vibe. But then the more you watch it, the more especially when you hear the groans and that sort of like that kind of guttural pain sound, you're like,
Yeah,
oh no, this is like real,
yeah,
like legit. And then him trying to scrape the
yeah,
tattoo off, like if anything, for me, because I watch a lot of this like gangland type of documentaries and YouTube videos on whatever it may
yeah, me
be,
too.
and I
Yeah.
read books about it and whatnot, etc. I'm never surprised because I think sometimes I think nowadays TV series do a good job. Like Gomorrah does a really good job. That Italian drama series that's based on gangs within an area in flipping Sicily and shit. No, sorry, Naples, Sicily, Naples, and it's a really nice, it's a really good documentary. It's kind of sorry, TV series about an area specifically over there. It's really run down, low employment rates and shit, and people just kind of,
Mm,
adopt to gangs and drugs just for pure necessity, and they don't have anywhere to go and
mm.
stuff, and it becomes a little bit of their own police state. It's a bit crazy, but that really shows the harsh realities of what it's like to grow up in those neighborhoods. Because sometimes you just get into stuff because you're just from there. Like I was saying recently, like I grew up in areas where I was like around like guys and girls that went to prison for like murder and kidnapping and shit. Some of them died and whatever maybe. And these are my like close friends and whatnot. But I don't say that to brag. It's just because you're just from where you're from. And just
Yeah,
because of
it's the
luck,
reality,
luck
man.
only, luck, and maybe because we were always in church fucking Monday to fucking Sunday, it felt like maybe I just avoided shit by that because I wasn't around too much. And when I was around, I was just playing. So I just kind of lucked out that I didn't end up in that situation. But what you realize when you live in a hood is that sometimes the actual harsh reality of gang life are quite depressing. Like the cool side of like
Mm.
having guys that can back you up and beef is good, walking around the streets and going to different areas and doing ride outs and feeling people getting scared and shit. That's can give you some sort of like, it can make you feel a certain way about yourself. But the realities of day to day living in a gang are nuts. Especially because
Yeah,
you
it's
don't
fucking
leave
scary.
voluntarily. You basically leave, you leave on the way to go into jail or in a flipping body bag. And like the consequences of getting caught up by your ops are just like excruciating. Like I've heard of stories of people getting, like having flipping torture where there's, bloody pressing irons on you, they're clipping off your nails
Jesus.
and shit. They're leaving you tied up on radiators and stripping you naked and putting you women's clothing and sodomizing you, like all this sort of nut stuff. But people don't see that. They just see the fast cars, the girls, the money, the kind of Batman and the kind of banks and robbers side of things. The police are after you, you're
Mm,
running away. No, but day to day, you're having to kind of just fight for your life. Day to day, you're fighting for your life. So it's no
it's
surprise
fucking
that we're
horrible,
seeing
man.
that side of things as well. And that side, and it also was funny seeing the memes. Everybody immediately in the comments. I understand why Ghana snitch now. I get it, Ghana. Ghana, I get it. Ghana, I get it. Ghana, you're forgiven. Ghana, I get it. I was like, the internet is undefeated. The
Holy
Inter's
shit.
undefeated, like, and then you see the next. I think that because a week before that, I think a couple of days before that, you saw the picture of Ghana recently, like with his friends, looking nice and lean,
Yeah.
healthy, happy.
Cool.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yup.
like,
Yup.
mate, we get it
Yup.
now. We get it now.
Yup.
He's like
Fuck that.
he's out here on his
Mm-mm.
vegan shit. He's probably riding a bike around and whatever. Like he's juicing. He doesn't want to be in some
Holy
jail cell
shit.
with
Fuck
his
no.
arms tied behind his back with fucking rope or fabric, and having
Oh.
some guy like try and scrape his tattoo. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Yeah, yeah. Because I'm tatted, man. For like really tatted. I almost passed out when I saw that, bro.
Imagine.
Because oh man, back in high school, my story is a bit funny because I used to be the kid that was like well put, like not rich, but well placed.
Mm,
Dad's a diplomat,
mm,
all that bullshit.
mm,
But yet I wasn't belonging to anybody. You know what I'm saying? So
mm.
I turned to the bad fucking crowd, and I was
I
like,
know your
yeah,
type,
being
man.
the
I know
gang
your
is cool.
type, man. I know your type.
You see me
I know
coming?
your type,
Cause
man. I know your
dog,
type, man. Yeah.
holy shit, I learned quick,
Mm.
bro. I learned real quick when shit was going down, and they were like, "Yo, we need you." Da, da, da. I'm like, fuck that. Nope. Like when they were saying, like the Bloods and the Crips are out here, like the fucking pulling out MS-13, pulling out machetes. Because I grew up now in Washington,
Mm-hmm.
and next to
Mm-hmm.
Baltimore is just fucking. It's insane, man. I feel like the violence, man. That's I'm talking about this because I just the violence, man. Don't you feel like it ramped up by like thousandfold? Like it's becoming way more intense in this new generation. Like they're really out here.
Yeah, that's
Like,
why I think I try to like make sense of it when I speak about it as well. I need to kind of correct my speech. That's why I think in general the hood side. That's why I think sometimes the hood side of things is not usually an economic thing. It's mostly a societal thing, mostly a trend thing, and it also doesn't just mean you're from the hood. Like there were guys in my area, especially, and the weird thing as well. Usually the guys who are like on it, like on it, that when they see their ops, it's on. Doesn't matter if he's there with his mom, like they are on it. They were
yeah,
actually the kids who came from affluent backgrounds. They were the ones more so because they legitimately felt like they had nothing. Maybe they had nothing to do day to day. Oh, they just were bored, and they would come. They would literally leave where they're from or their nice house they were in and come to our hood and hang out. But they would go over the top to prove that they were actually about that life. They would earn their stripes, and they would sometimes end up being like the top honchos in gangs and stuff. We had a couple of guys like that in our areas that who we had like
it's sad.
this one guy called Morrison who's like a big rapper actually. Like his dad was like an owner of like a construction companies. Like
Oh,
and I
come
think if I'm
on,
not mistaken, his dad had like a stake in one of those brands that make like forklifts. So
oh
we're
shit,
talking like money, like, and this kid Morrison was like the biggest gangster I've seen in my life, like legit. Like he used to like strike fear in people's hearts. Like the stories about this guy were like crazy, but I think then it was like a thing of like it's just something to do and you're bored. But nowadays I think
nah, it's,
there is a lot more like violence because I think the violence is the only way to really prove you're about it. Like you can't really prove you're about it by selling bricks and all this sort of shit because you can fake that. And if you've been outside, everyone sold the odd pill or something to somebody or whatever. It doesn't mean anything. Like it's whatever in it. Like it's not. It doesn't mean much unless you're fucking El Chapo out here. No one gives a fuck that you sold an H to somebody else, whatever. Who cares, right?
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah, yeah, yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
real way to prove your badness, as we say here in the UK, to prove your real badness in the UK, fuck someone up. Like go and fuck someone up. Fuck up a string of people. Like King Vaughn. Like have bodies on you
bro. I
and
was gonna talk
your
to you about
name
that.
is
Yeah.
gonna ring. Like it's gonna ring. It's gonna be like your name's gonna ring like a fucking famous architect. You know what I mean? Who leaves a crazy building behind. You know what I mean? As a monument.
Oh
Like those
man.
bodies, weirdly enough, are gonna be your monuments. Like, in time, people will always remember you and think, "Rah, he was really living his raps." They'll psychoanalyze everything you said, every tweet, every lyric. So I think the onus to be violent and to be about this life is there. And also, don't forget the introduction of smartphones. Smartphones now, if you fight someone that didn't and it wasn't recorded, it didn't happen. It's like that saying, if a tree falls and no one around
In
to
the
see or hear
flames.
it,
Yeah.
like did it fall? Same with that. If
Yeah.
you fought someone, did it happen if we haven't got footage though? Even more so if the footage I've seen sometimes people get ratings, sometimes if they fight someone and they don't record the footage, like some stranger records it, and they're like, oh shit, isn't that so and so? Like, I think that it happened to Whack 100. Whack 100, that fucking, shouty old goon guy, right, from LA, who's also
Yeah.
games
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
manager.
Yeah.
Games manager. He's always
Yeah.
spewing and barking online. Ah, rah, rah, I'll
I
beat you
hate
up.
that
Yeah,
nigga.
yeah,
I
yeah.
hate that
He's
nigga.
annoying. But there was a
Yeah.
time
He's
when people
fucking
kind of
obnoxious.
respected him a lot, right? Because a random video popped up of him on YouTube or somewhere of him fighting these two white dudes in a parking lot. Like they get into some sort of disagreement and he just start scrapping. And immediately you start realizing, oh shit, why can't I just gonna fight? Like he actually like and it kind of added to his like mystique. So I think nowadays the kids have that kind of thing in the back of their mind with violence. Like they know if they can enact the violence, it's recorded, people are singing their praises, it's like stories passed on to people, their legend grows bigger.
So you saw that King Von documentary, right?
Of course.
Oh man, that guy should get an award. I don't know what they're waiting for.
Spectacular.
Fucking
Spectacular.
exceptional,
Spectacular,
exceptional.
yeah, spectacular. He should win a Golden Globe. Fuck that shit. He needs a Golden Globe. The work that went into that, the research,
Insane.
the disclaimers. I didn't feel like disclaimers, like really good cautionary tale bits, like how he put it, essentially saying, "Hey, man, like this kid's life would have been completely different. Maybe if his dad didn't die so early on, like just as simple as that. Your
Mm.
dad dying, then you saying ever since then I turned into a demon, and not just like saying it to sound cool. No, he legitimately turned into a demon." Like, and then his friend dying, and then you're like, oh, then the body starts stacking up. Like, wow.
You know what I was thinking about the whole time was like that bullet, that first bullet came all the way around back to him, man. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody you beat up, everybody you kill, all this bullshit you be doing, it's gonna come right back to you, man, one way or another, bro.
I don't know, though. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if that's true, man. Like,
Really?
honestly,
Tell
I
me.
think some people just get away with stuff and some people don't.
Oh,
I don't believe in this karmic retribution thing because there's too many like flipping Rupert Murdoch's a good example. There's too many of these fucking
what?
evil shadowy. No, think about it. There's too many of these evil shadowy people who are some way like even the Clintons, if you're gonna go conspiratorial level, who have bodies on them, but they live a long, prosperous life. They die of old age, no ailments, no nothing. They die in their sleep, surrounded by their family, with their hands crossed across their fucking chest, feeling happy about the life they live. Like in peace, they sleep like a fucking baby, and they've massacred people. They've put hits on people. They've completely destroyed countries, destroyed whatever it may be. Like look at Barack Obama, that fucking drone shot that fucking went to the wrong location, ended up blowing up a fucking wedding in a school. Like terrible things people have done. They sleep in complete peace. But on the other side of the coin, it's also kind of funny how, especially these goons, they always end up getting killed or caught in really dumb ways. Like the King Vaughn thing is a good example. He ends up dying by the hands of
It's
somebody he
crazy.
wasn't even beefing with for a long time. It wasn't even like an old
Yeah.
op. It was just like a thing that happened in a moment, quickly. And I think if you watch interviews of his manager, he even says on the day that they went to the thing, no one knew he was going to hop out of the car and start swinging on what's his name on that rapper, fucking Quando Rondo. No one knew. He just decided like, oh, I saw Quando, it's on. So and then they have to kind of pick up the scraps. And then at the time it kind of leaves. It kind of reminds me of The Wire when Michael what you call it Michael K. Williams' character dies. I forgot his name in The Wire.
Mm.
And he's the guy that's whistling. The scary guys coming through the
Yeah, I
ends,
remember that dude.
right?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
then he
yeah,
ends up, how does he end up dying? Some kid in a bodega shoots him because there's a bounty on his head. They live in fucking where they live. I think it's in Baltimore. There's no,
Yep, that's
like the
Baltimore. Yep.
money is fucking fucked up. No one's got money. There's word around the hood that there's a price on fucking his head. and some kid
Yep.
shoots him because he wants to, he wants to get toys and sweets for himself. It's not whatever. And then obviously that starts a spiral because most likely that kid's going to end up being the next guy. So there's two sides. One side, bad people live forever. The other side is that bad people end up perishing in really stupid ways. Like another good example, last one is that I think he was the head of the Gambino crime family or something. Is it one of them anyway? One old school like Italian mafia crime syndicate. He's the head honcho there. He's the capo of this flipping gang.
Yeah.
And then he ends up dying. How did he end up dying? By the hands of some QAnon guy. Some QAnon guy gets into his head that this guy is involved in child abduction, Pizzagate, I don't know, whatever. He ends up just going to his house in a cab, knocks on his door, he opens it, and he shoots him in the chest. That's it.
Oh shit! I remember. Yeah, I remember
You know
that
what I mean?
story.
Like,
Yeah,
just
yeah, yeah,
he's a
yeah,
guy. He's a top gangster. He's killed loads of people. He's got a fucking mafia behind his back and shit. And the police were worried. They were scared it was gonna start a new war, and they found out no, it's just a lone shooter, crazy guy. So, I'm not too sure about the karmic level. I'm not too sure because he got away with 10 bodies. So if there's karma, why not end his life at five? Why let 10 people perish before he finally quote unquote gets his?
yeah. Do you believe in an afterlife, or do you just like, are you just kind of like in out? It's done. It's over once you pass
Uh,
away.
I may have that kind of thinking that everyone has now, where I try and live my life like there is an afterlife. And if there isn't, then cool. But at least I've done. I've been good, quote unquote. I've done the right thing.
Yeah,
So that kind of stuff, I
yeah.
try. I try to go, but I'm not one of those people like cause my parents are like super hardcore Christian. I'm not also somebody that's like looking forward to heaven. Like, oh, I can't wait to go and see everybody is be like a party. Ah. It's like let's relax. Like, heaven isn't fucking burger. You know what I mean? Let's chill. So I don't have that kind of fantasy of like, it's gonna be like a second life. No, but if it happens to be an afterlife and I've, lived a somewhat decent life, then I'm hoping my name is on the list. If it's not, all good, isn't
Yeah,
it? All good. I'll dance on fire. Hey, hey, hey.
yeah, man. Because when I hear you say, people that I personally, right? I'm a bit of a weirdo because I study people that died and came back, like hundreds and hundreds of studies,
Hmm.
whatever, blah blah blah. Let me tell you something, man. You might live from 0 to 100, but once you cross over, man, trust me, there's a bit of a price to pay, man. Apparently, from what I heard. So yeah, be careful out there, people. Like we whatever, but I mean, like even less things like what if you just you cheated on your girl or whatever, right? You never had that shit come right back to you. You're like, oh damn, like now I got this new chick and she cheated on me or some shit.
No, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Like, I don't know. I don't know. It's not even. I don't think that's true. I just think sometimes you have to just, you have to be okay with you. And
Mm,
I think most people are genuinely good, are genuinely kind-hearted, warm-hearted people with good intentions. And I think most of us don't want to fuck over people because we don't like how it feels, how it makes us feel, how it makes them feel, and we just probably don't like to put that energy out there. But I don't think there's this like stored up energy that's going to strike that you down and get you somewhere. Because I think there's too many people out there who get away with murder. That's basically what I'm trying to get away. Basically, get me saying.
mm,
Like I mean
okay.
that literally and figuratively. Like people that literally get away with murder. And if that's the case, then what's with all this karmic retribution? I'd rather live a life where I go to bed happy with myself and my decisions. Um,
Mm,
because I'm always somebody that kind of thinks like somewhat 2 steps or 3 steps ahead. And I always kind of think to myself, okay, if I make this decision, like I remember once, like, like a friend that I was meant to like help out with something, I was like, but I just didn't want to do it on the day. And I was too pussy to just say I didn't want to do it and whatever it may be, and I just like aired it. Right, I decided I'm just going to fucking ghost this person, and I knew when I did that, I was like, you know what? If I do this, our relationship is never going to be the same again. I know
mm.
it. I know I'll fuck this up, but I was like, in that moment, I felt justified. I was like, yeah, fuck it. I'm in that moment. I'm feeling the way I'm feeling, and then guess what happened? We haven't spoken to each other since. so, so,
Should have
so
ghosted this dude, man.
no, no,
Fuck.
of course, duh. I fucked up, duh. No one's ever not denying that. But like, all that to say, I think everyone should go through life kind of with that back of their head, like think, okay, cool, like think everything through legitimately to the, as many outcomes or possibilities that you can, and whatever decision you make it. But also the thing that I've always hated are people that do that kind of thing and then start complaining. But man, come on, man, I wasn't being serious. I was busy, man. My phone was whatever. No, 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 no. You made the decision. You did what you did. You know what you did. Now live with the consequences. Like I'm on that kind of time. I don't believe in cancel culture, but I also believe in consequence culture. Like say and do what you want.
Consequence culture. Oh
Say and
shit.
do what you want. Like that's I want to live in that world. I want people to fly off the handles. Say what you want, man. Call me a nignog. Like call gay people the F word. Like whatever. Do it. Rah! Say what you want. But if they come and take your house, right,
Oh
and
shit.
you
Don't
can't see your
complain.
children, don't start crying. Like don't start saying, "Oh, I respect the LGBT community. My friends growing up are black." No, 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 no. Shut up. Like deal with your consequences. That's what I'm on. I'm on that sort of time. But I think people nowadays are so sensitive. They don't want to hear the bad thing. Like, no, I can't hear that. My ears are too sensitive. Like, no, no. Let people say bad things and then let us as society, because usually we're quite good at it. I think as humans, societally, we're quite good at, kind of spotting the fucking charlatans and the people who
Mm.
are bad for the community and society at large. We can basically judge. We can be the judge and jury, and we can vote with our feet. If we don't fuck with you, we don't fuck with you. But let's not shame people out of talking. Let people talk and then kind of hang themselves with their words. That's what I say.
Oh, this is an interesting topic, man, because I want to get your thoughts on the cancel culture. Because right before we did this, I was listening to, I think you did it yesterday, but you were talking about this one comedian, bro. I can't remember his name, but man, he sent a chill down my spine, man. He was accused of like sexually raping some
Yeah, there's too many, man. There's too
female.
many of them. There's Kristen Leah, Brian Callen. There's too many.
Yeah,
Yeah,
oh
there's too many of
fuck,
them.
man.
But yeah,
Because
it's
shit.
probably one of
He
those
had his
guys.
shaved head. His head was shaved. He was old as fuck.
Oh, oh, oh,
And he likes to wear speedos.
yep. Actually, Brian Callen. Definitely Brian Callen.
Don't get it. That's
Yeah,
the
definitely
dude.
Brian Callen. Definitely Brian Callen.
What the fuck? What are your thoughts on that, man? Because that is insane to me. Like when I was listening to the what he did to women back in the 90s, I couldn't believe it, man. I was like, holy shit, how did this guy get this far with, you know, all that behind him? Like he's
Yeah,
literally like a criminal. You
I
know what I'm
don't know.
saying?
I don't know. I think going back to like a male thing, I think they're just. I think it just depends how you got brought up or how you got raised. Because for me, when we were growing up, like our kind of thing that we do, like to kind of go out there and try and pick up girls, was go to like
Mm.
house parties, right? Or like like barbecues and shit, and like maybe try and catch a quick wine in the corner. Sean Paul will come on and try and get low, you know what I mean, and hope like when she turns around, she doesn't scream, that kind of vibe, right? That was what we were on, right? But the whole vibe back then was that sometimes as well on Saturday afternoons we'd go to like shopping malls and we like be walking around buying like a little milkshake from McDonald's, and we see someone, we'll go and approach them, say hi, what's up, and try and spit game, and usually you'd fail, but that was always what you'd do. Like you'd go there, okay, cool, let me go and make my attention, kind of try and track women this way. But there was also guys who, when they got older, because never did that. So when they had money, they'd just go out and they would just try and get girls drunk
Yeah,
and
that's
do it
more
that
true.
way and try and take advantage that way. But I was brought up in a way where we would be in groups of people and you'd come out like groups of guys, groups of girls. There might be a couple of people in that group who are basically pursuing each other, got eyes on each other and shit. But if the girl got too drunk, it was a point of pride for someone to be like, no, 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 I'll get an Uber, I'll get an Uber, I'll get an Uber. And you put her in the
Bro,
Uber
yeah,
and you send her home. Like you couldn't
yeah.
take any pride in like trying to like get it on with her in a car way. No, no. You would legitimately get in the cab with her, help her home, literally walk her in the house and close the door and leave without doing a shit. And I send a text the next day, hey, hope you are well. What you call it? I left you a whatever coffee on the table, whatever. You do some like flight shit like that. Like you want to kind of like show that you're a gentleman first. You know what I mean, that
Mm,
you're a
mm,
fucking
mm,
even
mm.
though your intentions are what they are, you're gonna put the best foot forward. Like I'm James Bond at this. You know what I mean? I'm on that kind of vibe. But there's some guys who got brought up in the way of like any any win is a win. So I think that those guys come from that school. So as a long explanation, I think they come from that school. So I think they generally, what the really disturbing thing, I don't think they see anything wrong in what they did. They honestly think, like in their head, I think Brian Callen's a good example of those kind of guys. They think because we went out on a date, we met each other, we went to a bar. You were obviously from the time that we left your house to the time you met me, you knew what time it was. You knew that I was trying to pursue you in a romantic or sexual way. So in those guys' head, that sick head, I think how their brain works is that anything that happens when you meet me is fair game.
Jesus
because
Christ.
because you came knowing that I wanted to pursue you romantically. I think that's how they view it. Because I tried to think about it in my head. I think it's like, how could you do something like that? Be cool about it, defend yourself, say you did nothing wrong, or not even explain what you did nothing wrong, and basically try and paint everyone to be a liar. But I was thinking to myself, hold on, like I watch enough of these, like especially locals, DSP a lot. Like the common thing that runs between locals and guys who would take the piss out of online, who are kind of like points of comedy for people and shit. People point and laugh at them. Like they don't think that it's funny. Like they actually think they're the shit. They think they're cool. They think they're amazing. And they see absolutely nothing wrong in what they do, whether it's begging for tips and shit and donations or leeching or being emotionally manipulative. They think they're always doing it right. So if that's the case, extend it to these sexual abusers. And I think in their brains, they justify what they're doing with that logic. No, you came to meet me. You came to meet me in a bar. It was consensual. Not
Jesus.
like that's what they think. I legitimately think that. So I think in Brian Callen's head, he thinks those rapes, those assaults, that wasn't a rape, that wasn't an assault. You gave me the eyes, you came and met me, we had drinks, we were being flirty. It's like what? Like how does that even make sense to a regular person? I don't know because I've been in many situations. I'm sure you have where you've gone on dates and it's going well until it's not going well. Like you think you've got something and then it just
Yeah.
disappears. So
Yep.
if that happens, how can you be in the thing of thinking just because the person turned up, it means they're on it? No, it doesn't mean that. Like anything can happen between now and the end of the fucking dinner. They could just change their mind midway through and think, actually, you're a friend, or actually, I'm not into you. You got a weird nose, whatever. But these guys are like, nah, that's not happening. When you go to the toilet, boom, put something in your drink. Oh, when we order,
Wow.
I'm gonna keep ordering you doubles. I'm ordering singles. I'm always putting my arm next to you. I'm always making because you hear that a lot when the women talk about the conversation. You can tell that little creep things are usually an indicator. They always say, "Oh, we were having a conversation, and I felt like he was being inappropriate." Like usually the creep go to is like always to kind of like turn every conversation sexual innuendo. Like, oh, I want to know what your mouth would do,
Uh,
that kind of stuff. So
uh,
that's usually the MO.
Jesus.
So I think, long story short, with the Callan guys, what I think about that, as sick as it is, oddly enough, I think they did. They think they did nothing wrong. Honestly, definitely think that.
You know why? It's probably because he's got a rich father and he always gave him everything he wants. So what the fuck? What do you mean no? You know what I'm saying? Like
Basically,
when
yeah.
you were a kid, you were like, yeah, 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 yeah. You got this, you got this, you got that, you got yeah, whatever you want, whatever you want. So you got this female in front of you saying no, and that doesn't compute with you, right? That just it goes, what the fuck? That I don't know what no is.
I don't know.
That is insane.
I don't even want to do that because I think that's too easy of an excuse. And I think there's many rich, wealthy
Oh,
people
for
out there
sure. Yeah.
who don't do that, who treat people with respect and
Oh,
stuff.
for
I just
sure, for
think
sure, for sure.
there's just some people who are just wired. Like I honestly do think, like I honestly say this as a point of pride, like legit. Like it was never a win in my circle of guy friends growing up to ever hook up with anybody when they were drunk. It was never a win unless you are
Mm.
both smashed yourself, and you both whatever. But it was never a win of like, oh, she's inebriated, her guard is down, let's go in for the kill. It was never a win. Never a win ever. And anyone that tried to make it a win, people would remind you she was fucked up. You're a loser. You're a creep. Da da da. You get no girls. No one wants you. You can only get them if they're smashed. Like it was actually something that you would get insulted and kind of teased about until the end. Like that's why we would go out at like 12 in the afternoon, bright and early, to try and approach these girls. Like, nah, I'm gonna approach you when it's sunny outside. Like, I'm gonna put my game to the test. You know what I mean? Let's see. Are you gonna call the
Baptized in the fire.
yeah, are you gonna call the police? Or are you gonna give me your number? Like
Oh
we're gonna play that
shit.
game. You know what I mean?
Oh
yeah,
shit. Those days were terrifying.
yeah,
Yeah.
but all these guys they like to meet people at their houses. They want to take you
Mm.
to the bar straight away. They always want to give you alcohol, do drugs and stuff. Why? Because they got no game, man, and they're fucking creeps.
Yo, you heard about what happens in Paris? They literally stab these girls with needles
Yeah,
to drug them while they're in the club. Like, what the fuck is going on, bro?
that thirsty
And
level,
especially,
like
yo, especially when wait until you become a parent, bro. That feeling is like amplified by a million. You're just like worried all the fucking time when you hear this kind of shit, bro.
yeah, I
It's
can't.
insane.
Like I can't. That's the thing. I can't imagine, and even worse so because I'm pretty sure Brian Callum's got like a teenage daughter.
Oh
Like,
Jesus.
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty. She's like I'm gonna say 16, 17 or something, like a young
Oh
girl.
wow.
So you'd imagine.
Yeah.
So that's what I always say about go back to that thing about karmic retribution or that line that people say to kind of like sympathize or to kind of empathize or no yeah to kind of get like abusers on board. But don't you have a sister or a mother? It doesn't matter. Like monsters are monsters. It doesn't mean like have you not seen fucking serial killers who there was that famous one I think it was GBK, the Golden Bridge Killer.
Mm,
That one, like
mm.
he had a loving family, a wife, all daughters. They had no idea he was like doing what he was doing, raping and binding women, murdering them and shit. Like doesn't mean because you got a daughter that suddenly you're not gonna be an abuser. Oh yeah, I've got a daughter, I can't do this. It's like, nah, bro. Monsters are monsters. Like this guy's got a daughter. I'm sure he wouldn't want his daughter to be, fucking dating someone that looks as old as him, let alone is gonna, pretend to be her friend, then take her to a bar, then get her
Right.
drunk, then say we're gonna go back home to get paper to go cinema, then we end up back at my place and he's pulling out his shit. Like he wouldn't want that story to be something that his daughter would say, but he can justify his own beliefs and actions. Why? Because he's a monster. Simple, simple as that.
First human beings, bro, I would literally go to jail for it was my kids. That's the weirdest thought in your head. Like you really feel like, man, I don't know, man. I kept thinking if somebody did that to them, I would legit go to jail voluntarily.
Oh
You
yeah,
know what I'm
yeah, yeah,
saying?
yeah.
That's
Like one thing
whew.
I believe in for sure is an eye for an eye. Like I said it before, like anything happens to my like family, like I don't really have much, I'm not really an angry person or violent person in the slightest, but I'm taking the M charge. You do anything like God forbid happening? No, legit. Like it's not even like a thing to think about. It's like,
Holy shit,
and
yeah.
I'm doing it casual. I'm getting all my affairs in order. I'm putting everything in place. I'm leaving the house like I'm going to work. Like, you know what I mean? I'm turning your lights off. Your mother's crying. You got to go fund me for your fucking funeral expenses. People are airbrushing your memory on a fucking t-shirt and shit. They're putting Facebook posts out about you. I'll go home and I'll sit at the table and wait for the feds to come. I'll be on my laptop watching YouTube, and when the feds come, I just go. No contest. Oh, do you want a lawyer? No, I don't want a lawyer. I did that shit, man. I don't want a lawyer. I did that. You got the prints. You saw me. You saw
Holy
me.
shit.
Like that's it. Like I'm on that
Yo,
time.
dog.
So I can only imagine what happened if I had a kid. I can only imagine what happened if I had a kid. It would be another level. So
Exactly.
if we were with my family, and sometimes I can have some, I can have some tete-a-tetes, right? In fucking with my family, we can have some beefs. But when it comes down to it, someone touches them, I am doing a bid. Like I'm gone.
Yeah, exactly.
I guys has not loaded for ages. He's in jail for 25 years to life. That's why, okay? That's
It
it.
is what it is.
It is what
It
it
is what
is.
it
So
is.
yeah, like
It is what it is.
I'm sending you fucking handwritten fucking community updates to post on my channel. Hey man, can you post that for me quickly? Let people know that.
Do this podcast for me real quick.
Exactly. This is a collect call
Oh
from the
shit.
HMP. Do you want to accept the charge? Yeah. Hey, yo, what's up, man? Hey yo, you know the charge thing ain't that bad, bro. It's not that bad.
Oh
We got
shit.
fucking chess on Thursdays, cinema club on
Oh shit.
Saturdays. Yeah, I'll take that charge, man. I'll take that charge. But again, I think these
Oh
guys
fuck,
also
man.
not to be like going on to a lot, but they don't live in the real world really. Like because the real world, the victim family would also go to the end because that woman that I think that Brian Cannon raped, she's got a husband. And I think the most that he did
Yeah.
when it happened, I think he did the most that he did was like he called the clubs up that he was performing at and got his shows cancelled and shit, blah blah blah. But I'm sorry, if that's my sister, like if that's my cousin, my like, excuse me, like so I think because it's LA, they don't live in the real world. The victims don't want to say much, or they don't want to play into it because they think it's going to hurt their career, which is obviously terrible that they're in that position as women. You feel like, oh, if I say something, it might hurt my career, but it's the truth. I'm assuming it's coming from some part of truth. The aggressors also know they can get away with it, especially in this kind of content podcasting game. You can basically get away with murder. Really, consequence doesn't really exist. Really, um,
Mm,
if you really play the game right and you got your own fans, so it's kind of this weird world that doesn't really make sense where you can legit go around abusing people, and there's no real consequence to it. There's no real like nothing happens.
yeah. This is insane, man. This is insane. Yo, I want to talk to you about that article I sent you. I fucking love you, man, because You know what? The Rolling Stone article I was telling you about that director from Euphoria. You know, and I was like, I was in my head, I was like, man, if Daisy gets a hold of this, she's gonna light this guy up. And then you're like, oh, I'm watching that. That looks lit. He's fine. He's good. Like I was like, holy shit. Do you separate the artist from the person? Do you do that? Are you like, I don't give a fuck about all that as long as the art is good?
Did you watch the first season of Euphoria?
Yeah, I liked it.
Of course, you liked it.
I
Everyone
liked
liked
it.
it.
I'm not even gonna fucking
Everyone
start.
liked
That
it.
shit
That
was
was
good.
genre defining. That was a moment in time. It's gone a bit shit for now, but that first season of fucking Euphoria, those first five
Yeah,
episodes, fucking TV gold. How do you think
yeah.
that happens? How do you think somebody's able to tap into, that sort of fucking generation of people? He's far removed from it, right from their perspective, tell these incredible stories, build these characters. Do you think that person went to church on Sundays, grew up in their family with a mum and a dad and a dog, went and did fucking fed the homeless on the weekends and shit? Do you think that's what happened? Or do you think that person's a little bit disturbed in the brain?
Oh, he's fully disturbed. Have you looked in his eyes?
Of course,
Fuck it.
man. Come on. Come on. Roy says Riley's article thinking I'm gonna be put off because the guy's a fucking weirdo. No, I'm interested. He's a weirdo. He's talking about weirdo shit, man. He's writing from a weirdo
Oh
perspective.
man.
He's telling interesting characters and stuff. Like Lily Rose Depp girl has got zero talent, zero. But
Oh
what she
yeah.
represents and what she looks like is compelling enough for that show. He plucked her and he sees what he basically plucked her from that role before the whole nepo baby discourse, because she kind of started the whole nepotism baby discourse because she had this article, Lily Rose Depp, I think in Elle magazine or something. She had a no, is it Elle? One of them. It was some sort of article she had, and she was wearing like Chanel. She looked amazing in the editorial. Everyone was like
Yeah.
licking her off. Oh my god, you look so great. Then the fucking article came out with the interview, and everyone was like, "Go fuck yourself." She basically was saying in the
Yeah.
interview,
Yeah.
"Oh, I've worked just as hard for my position. People just think because I happen to be the fucking daughter of a model and of a
Oh
blockbuster,
my
also
god.
super handsome actor, that it means that I've got things easier." Well, it's nipper baby nonsense, right? And everyone started to hate her. That guy, Sam Levinson, he saw that potential in her, that fucking bizarro perspective, that really interesting way of viewing the world before we saw that article. That genius of identifying that talent in her, pulling in the weekend, especially the direction that he's going in. He's kind of always kind of been going in this sort of like direction where he's kind of this he kind of feels like he's like the Abel and the weekend are kind of becoming the same person. He's not been able to separate them. I
Mm.
think before early in his career, he was, because I've been following him from the start. Like I went and saw him in like the O2, over here in the UK, and it was like I don't know 1,000 people. Like this is when he didn't want to have the
Oh
lights on him.
shit.
Like I've been deep in the weekend early, so I've
Oh.
seen his trajectory, and he's like legit. You can tell like the character and the him as a person and the artist is kind of blending into one, and he's basically turning into the person in his videos. So Sam Levinson, the genius, he saw that. He saw that. He was like, you know what? How? And again, flip the whole script. Let's not have him be the star and be the pop. Like, let's have him be the fucking voice, the manipulator, the fucking bad influence, the who's the manager, the Elvis manager that fucked him over. Who's that guy? I forgot his name. Is it Captain or whatever his name is? The Elvis
Oh yeah,
guy.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I see what you're talking
yeah,
about. Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
character that exists in culture, music all the time, takes this talented
Uh-huh.
person
Yeah.
and then kind of comes behind them and essentially is the one that quote unquote corrupts them and breaks them and those malarkey. That kind of point of view is genius level. The trailer looks fucking fantastic and shit at the same time. Like that's genius level. It's either gonna be fucking amazing or fucking terrible. But what you're not gonna
Holy
do,
shit.
what you're not gonna do is write an article, use loads of buzzwords, and think I'm not gonna watch something. I'm gonna watch it. Like, I'm gonna fucking watch it. Like, what the fuck is this? Like, you can't buzzword me out watching a fucking TV show, especially something based on that sort of stuff. You think, oh, yeah, I'm sure I was gonna be drug taking and violence and sex. Oh, really? Okay, like everything on the fucking internet. You like, is there a safe version of the internet? Someone tell me, does that exist? Is there a version of the internet you can check out where you don't see fucking people getting blown up, people getting shot, people getting put in stuff in? Like now, this trend on Twitter now, which is weird. I'm not thinking, like honestly, the sexualization of these in society is bizarre. There's this new trend now. I'm not sure if you see it on TikTok, on like social media, of these girls on TikTok doing these like dances and doing like the little TikTok cute girl thing, and they've got a whole
Mm.
shelf full of like these like like gigantic dildos. Have you seen this stuff? It's like these like
What?
yeah, it's like
No.
a trend
Oh
now where they
shit.
pretend like they pretend like it's not a big deal. So they're doing a dance and like there's a
Oh,
shelf of like these like and you're like what anyway whatever. So I can't
easy. We're
escape
getting old, man. We're getting
exactly.
old, bro.
I can't escape this shit. Yeah, I can't escape this shit. You're making me see stuff I don't want to see. Yeah, right. I'm opening up Facebook and I'm seeing 15-year-old girls
Oh
gyrating, and
no.
I'm
Oh
trying to X. I'm trying to turn on the volume. It's not working. I'm fucking scared. I'm gonna get arrested. Yeah. And now a TV
you
show
have
comes
SWAT
on.
come through.
Exactly, a TV show comes on. A TV show. If I'm not gonna watch it, a TV show. Go fuck yourself, man. Come on, man. Nah, I'm there. I'm locked in. The Idol. I'm doing a fucking I'll probably do a fucking stream for the first episode. I'll be
Oh
tearing it
shit.
apart or praising it, but you're not shaming me out watching an episode. And like just to go back to the Sam Levinson thing, like that's what genius is, isn't it? Genius, unfortunately, doesn't come from straight laced upbringings. It comes from being a little bit, having a bit of a disturbed upbringing and basically using that disturbed upbringing as a platform for you to kind of tell interesting stories or place to kind of pull interesting stories from, blah, 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 blah. Like, I don't think a guy, what's Sam Levinson? Is he like in his 40s or something or whatever it may be? How can
Mm.
somebody at that age be able to tell such accurate portrayals of what it's like to be a fucking teenager? Like, how does he do
Especially
that?
in America.
How does he do
Yeah.
that? Because he's a fucking
Accurate as
genius
fuck.
and he probably has had a fucked up childhood himself. That's probably
Yeah, you
why
can
he did
see it.
it. That's probably
You
why
can
he
see
did
it
it.
in
Yeah,
his
exactly.
eyes.
Come on, man. Come on. Come on. Let's be
You hear
real.
about people trying to cancel Pablo Picasso, bro?
Yeah, of course. Bruh, like, look, like,
It's getting out of hand, bro.
me
I don't
personally,
know.
I've always said, I understand cancel culture. I get it. I get it because I think the judicial system in most countries,
Yeah.
especially when it comes to
Tell people.
sexual assault and rape and stuff, is fucked up. The conviction rate is aggressively low. I think in the UK it's something like 7% or something. Even if you get a rape kit done, 7%, right? Basically of you basically having a chance to kind of get a conviction. So it's crazy, and it always turns into a
Jesus.
he said she said thing. It's horrible. Okay, but retroactive flipping cancellation and going back in time, I'm not for. So if it was up to me, I'm letting it know. Like I've always said, if something happens to you, speak up, say it. It doesn't matter if the person doesn't
Mm.
get convicted. Let people know. At least with cancel culture, what it does, it kind of shames you in public. People know, oh, this guy's a creep. Even if you don't get to prison, it leaves a bad smudge on your name and reputation. That's good enough. Do that, but don't let it happen to you. Wait 10 years and then say it, and then get upset when the world doesn't react the way you want it to react because it's 10 years later. No, 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 no. Do it in the moment, and also don't apply today's standards to yesteryears. People got away with fucking horrible things back then because it was back then. We've moved on in society now. Let's try and move on and kind of adjust things. Obviously, it's important to know these parts of Picasso's story, similar to when everyone found out fucking Christopher Columbus wasn't Peter Pan, right? Or Robin Hood. That was important, right? Everyone needs to know, okay, Christopher Columbus isn't Robin Hood. He actually raped and murdered people along the way. Who would
Jesus.
have
Don't get me
thought,
started on
right?
that.
Who would have
Like,
thought?
who'd have thought? Who?
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Fucking
Columbus Day,
crazy
he's not
motherfucker.
fucking Santa Claus. Oh, wow, okay, fair enough. But let's also not like suddenly go down and what try and trace Christopher Columbus's bloodline, and anybody associated with him has to give up all their like. Come on, now you're doing too much. Let's just acknowledge
They're
the
definitely
history.
too
We
much.
know it, inform it, go from there. But let's not do this whole like, and even this stuff like you're trying to cancel a show before it comes out because what? It's a bit racy.
It
Is
got
it?
to me. I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. I was like, oh, really? Okay. Hmm. You know what I'm saying? I'm all influenced and shit. I'm like, shit, believe
Yeah,
this.
no, 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 no,
And
no.
then you think about it, you're like, wait, hold on. You're right though. Like what? I'm not gonna watch the show because I got okay.
In the same way that when Cuties came out,
Uh
right?
oh.
But
Yeah. Wow. Uh oh.
No, no, but it's the same thing. Cuties came out, and most of us who are sensible saw that show, saw that movie story, saw the trailer, and were like, no, thank you.
Yeah.
No, thank you,
Yeah.
right? No, thank you.
Hell
Most
no.
of us saw that. But no one should be in a position of saying that should never come out, cancel it now, it's bad for the. No, whoever wants to watch it, go watch it. But most people
Mm.
don't need to watch it because you saw the trailer, you know what the vibe is. I don't understand this whole like, oh, it's terrible, so that no one can enjoy it. Who are you to tell people what they can and cannot enjoy? Or what they can and cannot watch? Most sensible
Yeah.
people saw that trailer. Doesn't matter if you have kids or not. That whole fucking thing is nonsense. You don't have to have kids to fucking not want to watch a movie that has 12-year-olds twerking. Like that's a mad defense, right? But
Horrendous.
the movie's there. If you want to watch it, go and flipping enjoy yourself. Don't tell me about it. I don't care, right? And enjoy yourself. Write your review for yourself. But also, don't fucking cancel the show and not let people tell it out because what that woman was trying to tell in that story, it seemed interesting. How she said it sounded interesting way more than what the movie is. That's basically it. But as an
Mm.
artist, you should be allowed to take chances and try to tell stories, even if they're uncomfortable. If they're uncomfortable, cool, because it means the people are not going to watch it won't watch it. The ones that will. But don't stop things coming out. Like that sort of stuff, I fucking deplore. I absolutely hate it. I really do. It's so annoying.
Yeah, it's not realistic either. To tell you the truth, you can't stop people from doing whatever the fuck they want to do, right? I mean, you don't do it; that's your thing. But if I want to do it, I'm gonna do it. What are you gonna do? You're gonna watch me 24/7?
Exactly,
That's
it's dumb. It's
impossible.
dumb. And again, most people, I'm honestly sure that woman probably didn't make back her money on that movie. I'm sure of it. Yes, he got the
Oh
pound
yeah.
over it, but it probably did more damage than good for her. It's not that woman. Bless her. I forgot. I think it's Christy Michelle. She might have been the first out there like Trump supporter, like black one in America, and I think she
Oh
sung at the inauguration.
shit.
And her career hasn't been the same since. Like
Over.
she's never recovered.
Cancel for
Yeah,
real.
exactly. So I think sometimes, right, that woman, I'm sure, who directed that, because I think the woman who directed Cuties was like a black woman, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah. She was African.
there we
Yeah.
go. So that artistic is like be free, artistic expression, express yourself. It's probably done more damage than good to her career. She probably can't even write for TV shows anymore. Like her
Oh,
name
she's
has
done.
been fucking sullied. If she does have to write, she has to do it without getting acknowledgement because no one wants to put her on credit because they're gonna be like, oh shit, that Curious woman wrote for this show. So it's probably done more harm than good. That's probably what actually happened. But when the movie was about to come out, all this uproar, it's like, bro, like most of us know this stuff is shit. We know it's fucking horrible. We know it's no, like it's this whatever. We know, like just let them put it out, and then the fucking people will be the ultimate judge. I
Judgment.
didn't see it in the
Right.
cinemas over here for long. It went straight to fucking streaming services, and I didn't see it promoted on the front page anyway. So it probably did. Like I will be surprised if she made her money back on that shit. I'll be surprised.
No, I mean, she cut a check from Netflix, and they were like, "Well, thanks for that. See you
There we
later." You
go.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
So it is what it is. Az, man, I gotta wrap this up. My job, my real world job, is calling and
No worries,
shit.
brother. No worries.
Thank you for this, man.
No
What a
problem.
phenomenal episode. I fucking love it every time you come on. Let's do this again and again, man. I love
Yes,
it.
yes, yes. I'm on it. Why not, brother? Why not?
Yeah, man, and keep up with the stream. Congratulations on the latest one. Everything is phenomenal. I can't wait to hear more, bro.
Yeah,
Thank
we
you
we,
again, man.
we keep on fighting. You know what I mean? We do this for our ancestors, you know? Again and again and again, we fight. Together we're stronger.
We keep podcasting. We
Yeah,
keep
yeah.
talking.
We keep podcasting. This is what our ancestors died for, man. Swimming over here. This is what they died for.